What up, what up? It's the Fantasy Football Hustler back at you. I'm bringing you the wide receiver matchups for week 11, all the starts, all the sits. One thing you have to remember, I'm just giving you my opinions on who I would start, who I would sit, etc. This doesn't apply to anybody's specific team because everyone's team is literally different. So just remember, keep that in mind. And I got you guys covered because I do 4 live streams every single week. It's normally Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. Schedule's changing a little bit for this week. It's going to be Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube right now if that's where you are. If you're not on YouTube right now, go hit it up. Do me that favor. Fantasy Football Hustler. Go hit the subscribe. Go hit the like. Hit the notifications. You want to get those notifications so you know when the live stream is kicking off. All right, guys, let's get into it because we got a lot of things to talk about. Last thing, remember, if you want to take your fantasy team to the next level, you want to make sure that you're doing the right things every single week to hit the playoffs, go for the gold. Let's hit it up, baby. FantasyFootballHustler.com. Sign up on the Epic tier. You can get into that Discord gang because you know that is very lit in there. And if you want DM access and you have a bunch of teams and you just want a bunch of my attention, get on the Superstar tier. Trust me, there's a lot of good things that are going to be coming through the pipeline. So you want to go get on that. Do it now. Just hit pause on the video. Do it right now. FantasyFootballHustler.com. The link is in the description. FantasyFootballHustler.com. Let's hit it up, guys. Let's get into this. We got 4 teams on bye this week: Bills, Bears, 49ers, and the Giants. Let's talk about some Thursday night football. Cardinals at the Seahawks. This is going to be a good game here. This is going to be a really good game. The 4 guys that you would be thinking about starting in this game, I'm just going to say go ahead and start them. DeAndre Hopkins, Christian Kirk had great games last time they played the Seahawks, expecting big things out of them again. Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf. Last game against the Cardinals, Tyler Lockett went completely off. DK, not so much. So I'm just saying let's lower the expectations a little bit on DK, but you got to still fire all these guys up. The ceiling is way too high to sit any of these guys. Kirk balled out. I know Kirk didn't ball out. Last game, he didn't really do anything, but the last time he played the Seahawks, he had a huge game and got 2 touchdowns. Sunday games, Eagles at the Browns, first game I'm talking about here. So Travis Fulgham, he's someone made me a little nervous about the way that he played last week. Weather was kind of an issue. That's another thing you got to remember. If weather is an issue in Cleveland, my answer is going to change about a lot of this. So that's why you want to be subscribed on YouTube so you can get all the news as it comes in. I'm bringing you these videos on Tuesday morning, very early. So things are going to change throughout the week. And that's why I do those live streams, because I bring news all the time. That's another reason you want to sign up on FantasyFootballHustler.com, because I'm bringing you the news all the time of what's going on. So I think Travis Fulgham, potential start, potential flex. When I say someone's a flex, I think that they're going to finish as like a wide receiver 3, for example. So, that's where I think Travis Fulgham's going to finish, somewhere in the wide receiver 3 range. Same thing with Jalen Reagor. He was the target monster of the team last week. Now, didn't do a lot with those targets, but Eagles kind of looked like shit last week. So wasn't his fault. It was the way that Carson Wentz was throwing the ball. But I think Jalen Reagor kind of in that same, flex range, top 36 wide receiver-ish. And Jarvis Landry. So tough thing about Jarvis Landry this week is Darius Slay's probably going to be covering him. I think he does enough work to be a wide receiver 3 at least. So someone you can get in flex consideration. Sitting everybody else in this game, though. Sitting Greg Ward, sitting Alshon Jeffrey, who only had 1 target last week. The coach said they're going to be getting him more involved, every week, but we shall see. Rashard Higgins, someone who, if I'm in a really deep league, I might consider flexing him, but I'm probably just going to sit him. And Donovan Peoples-Jones, just got to go ahead and sit him down. Falcons at the Saints. Fingers crossed it's going to be a big offensive game. So Julio Jones, you're obviously starting him, even though the matchup is pretty tough. Calvin Ridley, I think you can still start him in the flex. That's assuming that he plays. So he's questionable as of right now. Subscribe on YouTube so you can get those updates for the future. Now, against the Falcons, you got to start Michael Thomas. I know he has not been off to any kind of a good start, but the matchup is prime. Got to play him here. I'm sitting Russell Gage. He hasn't really been doing anything. Emmanuel Sanders. Now I have him down here as a sit, depending on who your options are. And if you have some buys or, things like that, I would consider getting him into the flex, because we are talking about the Falcons, and the Falcons have been bad. Traquan Smith, I'm sitting him. I don't know 100% if he's going to play this week. He did get smacked in the head and left the game early. He still might be in concussion protocol, but either way, he played. Even if he did play, I'm still sitting him. Bengals at Washington. This is going to be a shit show of a game, that's for sure. T. Higgins, you got to start him. Like, man, he's getting to be unsittable. Like, he balled out last week, and we're talking about going up against Pittsburgh. Washington secondary is way tougher than Pittsburgh, but T. Higgins has been balling. You just can't keep him on your bench. Tough matchup, but I think you can still play Tyler Boyd, someone that I think you can get in there. Flex roll, so top 36-ish. I think you can get him in there. Terry McLaurin, he's someone that you're just not sitting these days. I mean, he's pretty much the focal point of the pass game. I mean, I know that guys like Isaiah Wright, Cam Sims, I mean, they did get involved, but either way, he's the alpha there. I'm sitting AJ Green, someone that I would get in there in flex consideration, just depending on how deep I was diving with the options. Then I mentioned Isaiah Wright a little bit earlier, and then Cam Sims, two guys that I'm sitting, but I like the way that Isaiah Wright was looking out there. I like the way they were getting Cam Sims involved. I just don't know how often they're just going to throw it as much as they did. They're throwing it all over the place. Lions at the Panthers. So Kenny Golladay, questionable. He missed last week. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube, so you get the updates. I mean, if he plays, obviously, you're playing him. On the flip side of the ball, DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson. I think you can get them in there into your lineup going up against the Lions. We saw what Washington did to the Lions last week. So I just assume without Christian McCaffrey, since he's probably not playing this week, that there's going to be throwing it more. I would sit Marvin Jones Jr. Like, I really don't care that he balled out last week. It's even more likely now because he balled out last week that he's not going to do good this week. So I'm just not playing that game. I'm not chasing the points with him. You will always fail if you chase the points with Marvin Jones Jr. And Curtis Samuel, someone who, depending on how far you're deep diving, I would consider a flex play, but I'm going to be doing my best to sit him this week. Steelers at the Jaguars. Talk about polar opposites here. 9-0 versus 1-8. I think you can start every wide receiver for Pittsburgh. I know when they go on the road, sometimes they go in these spurts of just running the ball. And, it could happen. So look at the way that it happened last week. Even though they were up by a significant amount, they still kept throwing. So Chase Claypool, Diontae Johnson, Juju Smith-Schuster, all guys who I would be starting this week. It obviously just depends on your options. That's something that you have to remember. I'm not saying if you have all three of these guys on your team, you start all three of them. This is just who I would start. Everybody has different options, on the team. Now, on the other side, on the flip side here, I'm sitting on my Jacksonville Jaguars. I got DJ Chark. He's someone who I might flex, just depending on what options. Keelan Cole, I might flex. It really just depends on how far you're diving. Chris Conley, I'm not playing him at all. This is just going to be a low-scoring game for the Jags. I mean, I don't see them throwing up more than, the Bengals did last week. Bengals threw up 10. If they're around the 10 to 14 range, I mean, you're just not going to like that offense at all. Titans at the Ravens, 6-3 versus 6-3. This is going to be a tough battle. A.J. Brown, even though he was a dud last week, I'm still going to play him. It's a tough matchup. He's going to show up for this game. I just feel it. I know that the Ravens, their defense is really stout, but the Titans, I mean, they're going to bring it. Like, man, we're talking about some solid competition right now. And I was just on a podcast a little bit earlier today, and we were talking about the AFC and how there's probably 9 to 10 teams, that are still kind of in the mix. Like these 6-3 teams, like that's the benchmark right now. You really can't afford to lose right now if you're going to be making a playoff push with just a couple weeks left. Corey Davis, I think you can flex him in this too. Someone who I'm not super excited to start, but if you're deep diving, I mean, I would rather play Corey Davis than some random waiver wire person. And then the last Titan I'm talking about, Adam Humphries. He hasn't even cleared concussion protocol. So as of right now, I'm just going to put that as a sit. I don't know. He hasn't really been doing the best. I mean, he's really just been someone throwing as a flyer, in bye weeks. Now, for the Ravens, the only wide receiver that I would even consider starting is Willie Snead. He's the only one who's even getting any kind of volume over there. Marquise Brown, yeah, I actually dropped him in a league that's a little bit more shallow. And, yeah, I mean, he's on the bench until he proves something. Patriots at the Texans. Not super excited about this game, but excited for a couple pieces like Jacoby Myers. He's been looking great. Got to get him in there. Texans, I mean, they're the team to stream against. I know Bradley Roby might be covering him. Hopefully he's not shadowing him the entire game, but either way, the volume is just coming through. And hell, he may throw another touchdown. Who knows how they're going to scheme him, because Patriots got to get creative. They don't have too many weapons out there. On the other Patriot I'm talking about, N'Keal Harry, I'm sitting him down. He finally made it back from the injury catch list, though, so we shall see. He may be someone to pick up and stash because they just do not have anybody there for the Patriots. Now for the Texans, Will Fuller, Brandon Cooks, I'm firing them up. I know that it's going to be a tough game for them, but either way, Texans, they're at home. They're going to be throwing. They got to make a statement versus the Patriots. Like the Patriots, they win a couple more games. They're right back in this thing. They're not that far out of it right now. They're 2 games behind all these 6-3 teams, and that's kind of like the cusp for the playoffs right now. So anything can happen, and they're playing a 6-3 team right now. They beat them. The tides are turning. And I'm sitting Randall Cobb, and I'm sitting Kenny Stills. Randall Cobb, I mean, if I was deep diving, I might throw him in the flex, but not too excited about playing either one of those guys. All right, about the Dolphins versus the Broncos. So Devante Parker, Jakeem Grant, those are 2 guys I'm willing to fire up in this game. Those are the main guys who are going to be doing stuff for Tua. On the flip side of the coin, Jerry Jeudy, I'm sitting him. I would flex him, depending on the circumstances. KJ Hamler, Tim Patrick, I'm just not excited about playing either one of those guys. Dolphins, they're going to put a hurting on the Broncos. Dolphins, they are solid. Jets at the Chargers. So funny. The 0-9 Jets versus the 2-7 Chargers. And it's crazy because the Chargers, they're one of 3 teams that have only lost a game by 1 score or less. The only other 2 teams are the Chiefs and the Steelers. So it's nuts because the Chargers have been in every game, and coaching is failing them. Because, they're in the tough game. They're in the tough, close battles, but they can't get over the hump. So, got to start all your Chargers in this game. Got to start Keenan Allen. Got to start Mike Williams. I mean, Jalen Guyton, I might even consider flexing him, depending on my options. Jamison Crowder, I would flex him. I think that's the only person that I would really consider starting from the Jets. I mean, Denzel Mims, Brashad Perriman, maybe. I mean, Brashad Perriman, I think I would start him a little bit more over Denzel Mims, especially after the showing 2 weeks ago. But super nervous about the Jets just in general. I mean, who's confident in them? Not me. Packers at the Colts. Davante Adams, that's the easy one. You never sit him. I don't care who he's playing. It's going to be a tough matchup for him. Doesn't matter. The way they get him involved, he's going to have a grip of catches. Michael Pittman Jr., that's someone who I would start for the Colts. He was the target monster. The way that they're getting him involved, I mean, they're creating plays to get him in space, and so I really like that. Those are the only 2 guys that I'm willing to start from this game. I'm a little nervous about everybody else. T.Y. Hilton, Zach Pascal, I'm not messing with them. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, I mean, he had a great game last week, but I would say most of his yards came on that one huge play. And is that something you can bank on? Like, not really. And Alan Lazard, he's getting close. I don't know if this is the week that he comes back, but if he's available on your waiver wire, just go pick him up. I mean, he's worth a pick, especially if you could throw him in your IR for right now. Cowboys at the Vikings. So Vikings, we already know what's up with their secondary. So I really think Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, this is a game where you can get them into your lineup, flex territory. I don't think either one of them are like a locked and loaded wide receiver 2 or anything, but we're talking wide receiver 3 and flex play. I think they're right there. Sitting Michael Gallup, though, not taking the shot on that, not rolling the dice there. Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, I mean, you have to play them both in this game. I mean, the Cowboys, they've just been garbage. They've been making people look like stars. Thielen got a big touchdown. Jefferson had a hell of a game against Chicago Bears. Nobody saw that coming. So versus the Cowboys, I think got to roll both guys out there. Sunday Night Football, Tyreek Hill. Sunday Night Football, Chiefs at the Raiders, Tyreek Hill. Of course you are playing him. I still can't believe that people ask me, on a week-to-week basis, should I start Tyreek Hill? Yeah, nobody has a ceiling like he does, or very few. I'm not playing any of the other Chiefs. Mecole Hardman, maybe in a deeper league, he's someone I'd consider. Sammy Watkins, not going to do it. Henry Ruggs, I think this is someone to get into your flex this week. He had a huge game last time he played the Chiefs. I just really think it's going to be one of those games again. I mean, we're talking about a little bit of a dart throw, in your flex, so it's got to be a little bit of a deeper league. I mean, 10-man league, I'm not playing him. Nelson Aguilar, not going to play him. Hunter Renfrow, not going to play him. Neither one of them has been getting that much volume. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a big Waller game, and I think that Ruggs is going to get loose for a little bit. Rams at the Bucks, Monday Night Football. I think you got to start Cooper Kupp. You got to start Robert Woods. I'm lower my expectations on Robert Woods a little bit because he's probably going to be covered by Carlton Davis and Josh Reynolds. Someone had a really good game last week. I just don't think it continues and rolls over, into this next week, but something definitely to monitor. And for Tampa Bay, I think you got to start all the wide receivers. I think you got to start Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Antonio Brown. I mean, I think you got to start these guys. The way that Brady was moving it around, they all got theirs. I mean, they all got theirs. Chris Godwin flirted with 100. Mike Evans had over 10 targets. So, yeah, I mean, I think all of them are safe plays this week. And I know one of them is going to be covered by Jalen Ramsey. We don't know who that's going to be. So that's the tough thing. Like, obviously, one of these guys is going to get shut down to a certain extent, by Ramsey. Who knows if Ramsey shadows Evans, if he shadows Godwin. I mean, the one thing about Ramsey is he follows whatever wide receiver he's on, he follows them. So I'm really not sure who he actually follows. He always takes on the big name. I don't know who, the Rams consider the big name. They consider that Godwin. They consider that Evans. I'm not really sure. So that's the tough thing about all three of these guys. One of them is going to have a tough matchup. We don't know who that person is just yet. I mean, maybe we'll hear something, in the coach speak, but I doubt they're going to give up any kind of that information. All right, guys, there's my video. All the wide receiver matchups, you know how we do. So if you're still here and you haven't subscribed on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. What are you doing? If you're not on YouTube, go search it out. Fantasy Football Hustler. Go give me a subscribe. Help me out, guys. It's all about my climb to 1,000, and I'm almost there. Stoked, guys. So really appreciate you guys. And follow me everywhere on social media at FFHustler420. So that's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Go to Patreon. Go hit me up at Patreon, Fantasy Football Hustler. Go follow me on Twitch TV, Fantasy Football Hustler. Go check it out there. All my live streams are going in there. So if you're on Twitch TV and you love that, go give me a follow. I'm only doing my live streams there right now. I probably will eventually get into putting my videos in there. But it's taking it day by day. So don't forget, this is the wide receiver video, but I also got all the matchups broken down for quarterbacks, running backs, tight ends, got everything for you. And then I got my defensive streamers of the week. Go check it out, guys. Peace out.
You ready, Jerry?
I'm ready.
Just want to make sure you're ready, brother. Show me the money.
Oh, you didn't know?
Every day I'm hustling. Every day I'm hustling. Every day I'm hustling.
Put my shoes on, you wouldn't last a mile.
Summertime, wintertime, I'm on the grind. Yeah, I got the ring, I'm the champ, I'm the genie of the lamp.
This is the gift I was given, so I just live by my hustle.
It's all about the Benjamins, babe.
Yeah.
It's all about the Benjamins, babe.
Yeah.
It's all about the Benjamins, babe.
Yeah. VIP me put in my pocket, it don't make sense, but don't make a profit. It's all a hustle, ladies and homies. Make money, 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 money.
Hold out here for a pill. When he tryna get this money for the real.
I want to find a thing to save my life, so I hustle.
It ain't over for me. No, it ain't over for me.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
Money! Show me the money!
Okay, let's go smoke that joint.